Does constantly needing to re-declutter mean that I'm failing on my journey towards a simpler life?
Thanks for coming to share your expert opinion. Could you just say a thing or two about your views on minimalism?
Certainly, you can trust me because I'm on the internet. There are only two kinds of people in the world: minimalists and hoarders. Make that three. People who like dogs. It smells. Can we get it over there, please? I can't. Yeah. As I was saying, basic types of people in the world: hoarders and minimalists like me. I was a minimalist before it was popular, and let me tell you a few things. Go look in your closets, and if you have more than 5 shirts, you're a hoarder. If you have anything underneath your bed, you're a hoarder. If you have more than 2 pots in your kitchen cupboards, you're a hoarder. I know this may be difficult for you to hear, but trust me, the only thing a woman needs a lot of is makeup.
Okay, thank you for sharing that.
Oh, you're so welcome. And if you want to buy my book, Why I'm Better Than You as a Minimalist, it's coming out in October. All ridiculousness aside, if we have a really polarized perspective about what it means to live a simpler life, we're going to feel like we're failing. If we think that our house is supposed to feel and look like a hotel room, but we've got a couple kids and a dog and some hobbies, I think we're going to feel like we're missing the mark. So the better thing to pay attention to is progress. Our success is really more about continuing to take steps. For instance, a little bit later, I'm going to be showing you a photo that really illustrates how far I've come, and while I might not look like a hardcore minimalist, I really feel like I've had success looking back in time about 7 years when I was a hardcore collector and comparing it to the peacefulness I feel now. My anxiety's a lot lower. So today I just wanted to encourage you, if you're on the journey, don't be hard on yourself if your house isn't like that Pinterest board you might have. Just celebrate the little victories. It's actually way more helpful than beating yourself up and calling yourself a failure if you just analyze those clutter hotspots and realize where the breakdown in your home management systems happen. So that's my goal with this video today. I really want to encourage you. Maybe you're on a similar journey as me. Maybe you've got some decluttering and cleaning to do today. Let's do it together and get it done. Coming up next are 5 reasons that I've found clutter keeps happening in my home. For the past few years, I've gone through my house and tried to get rid of anything that I don't use, probably won't use in the near future, and things that are just in my way or not really working for me. But it just kind of seems like clutter keeps popping up. So I wanted to talk to you today about why clutter keeps happening for people like me, Distractible Creatives. I've got some catching up to do around the house that I kind of neglected while I was distracted by my last creative project, which you can go watch later in my curbside trash to treasure video if you're interested. So I think that's the #1 reason for me lately why things kind of pile up. I've just got a lot of ideas that seem more fun than housekeeping. However, since I am a homemaker, I do need to take my job seriously and make sure that I don't let things get way out of hand. Now, I could probably get my house guest ready in about an hour or 2, so I've come a long way from before when I would kind of freak out if I only had a week before, say, in-laws came or something. Now, cleaning's not my favorite thing, but I'm really proud of myself because yesterday I actually mopped the floors instead of just spot cleaning those sticky spots from the kids. So I'm gonna go put these newly washed bath mats back in the bathroom, and then I'm gonna move on to the second most common reason for clutter in my home. Now for reason #2 for continued clutter is not really having a designated home for papers and different things that just kind of pile up. Now if you watch my cluttered countertop to hot drink station video, that's basically all the stuff that would normally go over there. I'm really proud of that spot because it's a flat surface that doesn't accumulate stuff anymore since we gave it a function. Now that bench is really more for storage than sitting on, and that's kind of the reason why when people clear off the table, they just move stuff over there. So I'm gonna pile it all on the table and sort through it right now. But I know that's gonna keep happening if I don't put a system in place for my husband and kids to use, because they're usually the ones that I ask to clear off the table while I'm finishing up dinner. So I'm gonna duplicate the DIY cereal box to magazine holder from one of my last videos. That way, whenever my daughter has done some art or they've got some school papers that somebody needs to look at, but I haven't had time to sit down and do it yet, it will go in here instead of on a flat surface. I can put it on the floor beside the bench and there's gonna be a lot less visual clutter. I'll put a link in the description box below if you like this distressed wood contact paper too. Doesn't look too shabby. So I'm just gonna grab all this stuff in one fell swoop. Pile it in here. My daughter has started the cutest thing in her art, which is having her little characters either whistle or sing. I just love that. And we've already decluttered quite a bit. Now all I have to do at supper time when my kids and husband are clearing off the table is inform them that papers don't go on a flat surface, they go in here. I'm gonna toss this in the closet and move over to some clutter on the chair. And when the dining room is totally decluttered, I'm going to show you my dining room before kids when I was an extreme collector. You really do appreciate your home when you're not fighting against it. Remember when I couldn't even close this closet? I've done a pretty good job keeping this surface clutter free, but what you see on the stairs I think is caused by clutter hang-up number 3, which is putting off little 1-minute tasks like taking things up the stairs. So right now, I'm gonna go put all that stuff away. Whew, that only took like 2 minutes total. Why didn't I just put it away in the first place? I think that's because it's really tempting to think that I'm saving myself time and energy by taking it all up at once when I'm going upstairs, but I either already have my hands full when I'm going up the stairs, or I just don't think about it and I pass it anyway. So I'm gonna have to get into the habit of not stashing anything on the stairs and just taking it up right away. So are you curious about what my home looked like before I ever considered the idea of minimalism or decluttering? I was an extreme collector. Back then, I really used thrift shopping and yard sailing as a form of entertainment, retail therapy really. It's just that I didn't feel bad about it because it didn't cost a lot and I felt like I was finding a lot of beautiful things. What I've learned since then is that I don't need everything that's beautiful. I don't need to buy everything on the clearance rack. I don't even need to go look there unless there's something that I need. So if you feel like you're still being surrounded by a bunch of clutter, take an honest assessment of what's coming into your house and try to apply the 1 in, 1 out rule. That's really helped me quite a bit. I have a few more locations over at this end of the house to declutter, and it's time to talk about clutter cause number 4.
The struggle to keep our house clean is real. Could you please take those things downstairs? I don't need them up here anymore. You forgot one.
You want me to take down the glasses?
I'll put them on your face.
I have glasses on my face.
I'll put them on your head.
Yes, the struggle is real.
Maybe I'll put them on your shirt. I'll just like. There you go. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Love you.
Alright, love you too.
The 4th cause of clutter for idealists like me is living in fantasyland. These books have been here for 2 weeks and I haven't cracked a cover. Well, except for this one, which my son and I read together, so I can go put those in the playroom. This is one of the many idea notebooks that I have. Here's another one, and here's a third. And I just keep these because I like to write down quotes in them, but I need to start whittling it down to having 1 notebook and maybe a goal-setting journal. This is a book that I bought for a women's study, but I found that I wasn't keeping up with the reading because it was hard to just sit down or I'd be really tired at the end of the day, so I wouldn't get through it. So what I did instead was just go to Audible and use one of my credits and listen to it instead. Now I am a really frugal person, so there was a twinge of guilt that I had bought this and wasn't going to read it, but I'm going to give it away. Somebody might really appreciate it. But for my season of life, listening to books on the way to appointments is really the only way I can reasonably get through them. So if you can relate to that, check out my link in the description box below. I think you would get a discount, and I might benefit too if you end up signing up. It's really only the cost of about 2 coffees per month. I highly recommend it to keep your mind stimulated. Learning is one of those things that really promotes happiness as well. This is a kid's book from 1962, and I think I'll leave this out because I'd like to start reading this to my son. He's really into colonial things, and this guy has a tricorn hat, so I think he'll enjoy that. I can go put this in the dog stuff in a minute. And with these, I might just part with it because I could probably get this from the library. And over here are some receipts that I need to sort through at a later date. So I'm gonna put this over by my computer desk. Besides putting those where they belong, I need to put these in the pantry so they don't need to stay by the back door. Now for the 5th and final reason that clutter generally keeps happening for people like me is being really sentimental. So I've kept a lot of cool things like old books and vintage things just because I really like them. But I realized that it would be more beneficial if I sent this along to a friend who would actually read it, who has a little bit more time than me maybe, instead of it just being a dust collector over here, which I think she would really appreciate. Got another project in the works. But before I get distracted by this project, I'm gonna make myself finish this for a friend. Got a recipe to type up, an address to put in my contacts. Well, I'm still gonna have to ship those books off and maybe donate some of my other ones, but now I actually know what I've got under the piles of clutter, and it really does help us recognize where the breakdown is in our home management system so that we can have a plan of action for improvement. Because somebody might look around our house and point out our problems, but they don't know all the progress that we've made. So I hope you're encouraged, if you keep finding piles of clutter, that it's normal. Like Dana K. White says in Decluttering at the Speed of Life, it's a continual process. And I really relate to her and laugh a lot when I listen to her podcast, A Slob Comes Clean. You might enjoy it too if you're like me and you just think a little bit differently than these super tidy people. I hope you've enjoyed tagging along on my journey towards minimalism. Hopefully it's also motivating to you, and if it is, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. It's free and helps my channel to grow. I aim to post a new video every Friday. Alright, well, if you want to keep decluttering with me, here's a playlist you might enjoy. YouTube thinks you'd enjoy this video, and I'll see you in the next one. You let it on the furniture? I can hear it chewing with its mouth open.